It's Friday night. It's 11 o'clock. It is the Explain Yourself Kickstarter Roundtable. This week sponsored by the Green Lantern Corps. Will and I realized when we both sat down. I think I've been in a few more battles than you, Will.
Maybe.
You look so green and nice, and I look faded. So it's Friday night. We are joined by creators that are kickstarting, but I had two different campaigns that we talked about. Life, Jason Ford, and DNS came today, and Girati, the Shadow of the People, Brenton Lingle. So this show keeps on giving. We get to talk about comics, and then like 2 or 3 months, they just show up in the mail. It's beautiful.
It's like Christmas.
Will, how you doing, bud?
Doing all right. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. We've got all of our creators are here. We will not tell tales, but somebody just slipped in there in the nick of time, and we won't say who it was. But we're going to introduce all of our projects. Mick, why don't you tell us a little bit about A Queen of Mars 1 and 2?
So Queen of Mars is a love letter fan fiction expansion on the Barsoomian works of Edgar Rice Burroughs. They're books I grew up with and was always fascinated by the world, but didn't necessarily feel like I wanted to adapt or retell anything that he had already done in specifics, but like there's still plenty of world there to explore off of what he built and what he created that I thought was very interesting. And like one of the questions I always find the most interesting is like, what happens next? Like what after your big season finale or series finale or like, you know, the last battle, then what do you do when you wake up the next day? And I just drew the first issue last year while working on a different project. I just wanted something to kind of like clear my head artistically. Mm-hmm. And I started working on pages on the side. And in a week, I had 8 pages of the first issue done. And then I got 8 pages done the next week. It's like, well, I guess it's a book now. So let's just do something with it.
Darn it.
Let's stick in sci-fi. Fellhound, what is And We Love You?
And We Love You is a 64-page graphic novella. It's about a young soldier in this dystopian war world who unfortunately perishes on the battlefield and bleeds out all her memories. It's also a prequel to my last comic, Commander Rao, which you can get now from Scout Comics. We are funding on Kickstarter right now. I believe we have about 2 weeks left, and we just hit our second stretch goal today. So we're going to get 2 bonus stories from Brent Fisher and Alex Schlitz, and also Michelle Ebenader and Hench, and they're really cool stories. So I'm really excited about that.
Awesome. We're going to go in closer. And our third project is Bloom Pretty Lisa. I'm going to let you talk about this because this is your baby. Brett is here with you, but I know Bloom Pretty is your baby. So what is Bloom Pretty?
I'm going to read it because this is my first time going over in the elevator pitch or whatever. Bloom Pretty, Lily of the Valley is a standalone, oversized comic that sets up a brand new fantasy world where every character is a plant hybrid. The story focuses on Astria, an outcast from her own family because of a magic she possesses. At its heart, it's a love story, but deals with themes of obsession, betrayal, and murder. It's firmly planted in a fantasy world with magic and mystery at its core.
Puns.
But I wanted the story to put a focus on love and family, how love and family can heal in the midst of tragedy.
All 3 of our projects veer more mature audience. Am I correct? Not mature, but I know Bloom Pretty has some gorgeous, sexy art. Mick, your last book had, not safe for work covers. Fell, is this book all ages or mature? I'm just trying to figure out. Tonight, should we tell to put the kids? Well, you should put your kids to bed. It's 11 o'clock. But
probably on the mature end. It is very heavy on the death theme, I guess. So unless that's something you want to teach your kids right now, then
No, not. There's no death going on in this world, so we certainly don't want kids to think that could possibly happen. Well, let's start with Bloom Pretty. It is the great thing is there's no pressure on any of these projects. You are all absolutely killing it. But let's look at some of the art on Bloom Pretty. If you're listening on the podcast, you're going to have to go to these pages to see the gorgeous art on all three. But Bloom Pretty has some of the. How can I say this? It is very sensual. It is very sexy. It doesn't feel exploitative to me as a dude looking at the page, but it also doesn't look like the male gaze. And if you enjoy the male gaze, there's a lot of beautiful nudity. So look at the page, and I'm going to pick it up. So how did you decide to make this more? Where was the thought process for making this not all ages?
It really started like 4 or 5 years ago. When I first watched Game of Thrones. I was kind of late to the party on that one, and then I watched Game of Thrones with Brant, and I was like, at the time I was making an all ages book, and then I realized that why am I making an all ages book when that's not really what I consume? So it was sort of just in the back of my mind, working on the concept for quite a long time. And then I brought a prop. It sort of all stems from a childhood book I had
Probably enough.
called Flower Children. It's like from 1910, and it's
nice.
like all of these little rhymes and plant people, and I was obsessed with it forever when I was a kid, and I was like, well, I still kind of am, so why don't I kind of make my own world where everyone is just a plant, sort of.
Well, the blue deer-ish lion-esque character, I don't even know what to call it. Where did that come from? Because it's just such a neat invention.
I told Corolla that I wanted a deer creature, and she just went. Amazing. He's so beautiful. It's kind of like, because I played a lot of World of Warcraft. There's like everyone has a mount or like this animal character. It just feels fantasy to me, and I have him as a main character actually in the story. He's very important. And then there's another that later I think we decided on bear.
Yeah.
A bear creature that comes into it too, and they're just part of the world, like important to the characters.
And just speaking on the mature thing a little bit, I know you were telling me as the story developed and some of the themes that you were going to be tackling in it made sense to kind of take it in a mature route because of those themes that you're touching on. So.
That is very true.
I had heard the creator of NYPD Blue say the reason that he would put in the nudity was so that they could do the things that they wanted to do. So when you saw Sipowitz's butt, it allowed them to show a dead body in the alley instead of vice versa. So it's almost like it censors away an audience that wouldn't like it so that you can tell the stories you want to tell. So, I mean, it's a Botchko, right? You're a pretty good company, I'd say.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And you got together an all-female team for this. Was that something you sought out to do, or did it happen just by like, what was the thought process for getting your team together?
At the beginning I hadn't really considered it, and then I was like, once I figured out that we had Nicole on as editor, and I knew I wanted to contact Corolla from her past stuff, and then I was like, well, we're almost there. and I had done a lot of coloring work for years, and it had just never happened where it was an all-female team. I just thought it would be kind of fun to do. for the first thing in this world. I also thought that it would help with the male gaze, as you said, for the first issue. I really didn't want it to push past a certain point. Like there's something that I don't know how to describe it. Just I wanted a specific look, and I thought we could do it really well with Corolla on the art, and then just keep going with the female team.
No, I think
Sorry,
it was
my first time talking about it.
Yeah, she's a little nervous, but
Well, don't be nervous. This goes out. We've got 17,000 people watching. we get 180,000 downloads a week. So don't be nervous. It's a really small audience. No, actually, we have 4 people watching. I said that. We have 3 people watching. Hi, Samantha. Thank you for joining us. And my evening's going well. I think you guys succeeded in that goal because there's a very the vision of this book is seen on the Kickstarter page. So whatever it was you were looking to do, as long as you feel like it hit the mark from an outsider, the mark seems to have been hit, and you're about to hit $25,000 and over 800 backers, I believe, 867 backers.
Now.
So I think any of your choices you've made for this, Lisa, were the right ones. History has proven you correct.
It has been really, really amazing.
Just go ahead. Kevin.
Just unknown Facebook user has downloaded 160,000 times. Hey, that's fine. Will and I don't care how it happens. We will game the system. So how long do you have left on it, Lisa?
Looks like 11 days.
Yeah, 11 12 days. You know, Kickstarter math.
Yeah.
So we're about to hit our next stretch goal, and then we'll have to figure out a few other things. Well, we've got them figured out, actually. But so we get to drop a few more next week.
What is the next one when you hit it?
It's a spot UV upgrade to the main cover, so we're doing it on the logo and the figures on the main on Corolla's cover, and then after that, we got.
We can go ahead and say
we're doing metal covers. We're going to introduce those on Monday.
Ooh,
so
nice,
yeah,
very cool.
Who did the artwork on those, or is it one of the covers that's already on the page?
It's we're definitely doing the Princess Bride one as a metal cover because we think that's going to really stand out. And I don't remember what the other one was.
We were considering Sid's cover.
Yeah, the painted one with the birds.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've already upgraded the other 2 variants to
Marguerites and Fabianas.
Specialty options.
Isn't it beautiful when you can make enough to make the book that is past your wildest dreams?
Absolutely. I mean, this, like she said, this has been kind of a passion project of hers for a few years now. And it's just like we going into this one, we had people telling us, oh, this is the one that's going to like blow up for you. And we were just like, before this, I think our highest one we made, Pneumatic Cases made 12.
12, yeah.
So that was like our benchmark. And after that, we hadn't quite duplicated that, but people kept telling us on this one that was going to do it. And we were just like kind of trying to be reserved about it and not get our hopes up too high. And then it blew up. And like everybody said, and it's just kind of blown us away in the process. So.
For sure. So grateful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's high fantasy. It's gorgeous artwork. It's sexy times. Yeah. I mean, I think the people telling you that it was going to blow up had extremely. Their predictions make sense, but until it happens, you can't get cocky until it happens.
Right.
So, of course. Hey man, keep it up. So, bloom pretty. We will get back to it a little bit. Fel, let's talk about And We Love You. I know Commander Rao a bit. I adore the story. I love the artwork. I love the fact that there's more heart to it than I ever expected when I started reading it. And this is a prequel. So is this a prequel to direct characters that we know from Commander Rao, or is that a secret, or are they brand new characters?
No, so we do see a younger version of Commander Rao, aka Casey Cormac, but the story is really told from another character's perspective, who was also introduced in Commander Rao, the character of Julie. So the entire story is told from her perspective, and we finally, I think one of the mysteries in Commander Rao was what exactly happened to Julie, and in this prequel, we will discover what exactly happened to her and how her and Casey's I guess like bond developed.
Let me pull it up. I should have been doing that while you were talking. I apologize.
That's all good.
It's been a weird week.
Indeed.
A lot going on.
So there's the cover, and I saw your poll this week asking if anybody saw the second figure on the cover. And my answer, yeah. Well, my answer is I see it mostly on Twitter, and the hair on the second figure is usually cut out, so you don't usually see that. But I had noticed it about in one of your like the pre-launch pages, but then I totally forgot about it. I was like, oh yeah. So
surprise cover, the gift that keeps on giving.
I bet there's going to be a lot of people surprised and excited when they get it. It's somehow extraordinarily gorgeous and gross as all get out.
Yeah.
So was that the goal?
To have it extraordinarily pretty and gross. I mean,
it's visceral.
Yes.
Game of Thrones, it reminds me of Jon Snow after I mean, we can do spoilers on season 4 of Game of Thrones, right? A character gets stabbed in the snow and bleeds, and it reminds me a lot of that. We'll say that. If you rewind it by 15 seconds, you'll hear the characters' names. I'm not really good with spoilers.
I've never seen Game of Thrones, so spoiler away. I probably don't know anything about it.
It's, you know what, I would say before the last season, I would have told you that everybody had to watch it. And when I saw the last season, I don't know that you do need to put that amount of time into it. And that is my relationship with Game of Thrones.
I've heard that.
That's the general consensus, yeah.
But so when you set out to create Commander Rao, I'm assuming that this backstory was in your head. Did you ever think you were going to write it and deliver it?
To be completely honest, I had this story before Commander Rao. Like, I had the story since, like, I don't know, it's been, like, since 2013, probably.
Wow.
So, yeah, I was waiting to do it because I guess things kept on coming up. Like, I felt like, there were times I felt like my art wasn't good enough. There were times I felt like it wouldn't sell because of whatever reason. And then there were just a lot of little things kept on popping up. So I kept on pushing it back. And then after Commander Rao, I was like, okay, I just have to do it. Now's the time. If I keep putting it off forever, I will just never do it.
How did you choose which to tell first then, since you had, the story for so long? Or did you just think?
At first, the story and Commander Rao were two totally separate things. And then as I was developing Commander Rao, I realized that they were both kind of dystopian war stories. So I was like, why not just put them in the same world? And, before Commander Rao, I was still really new to comics. I didn't really have that big of an audience. I didn't really know what I was doing. So I felt like if I put the two stories together, it would kind of help me on the marketing approach. Just be like, okay, if Commander Rao does well, I can just pitch this new one as like a prequel to the thing that did well. So that was kind of how I approached it.
That's brilliant.
I was planning ahead.
Yeah. Just looking at there. Now you're what the fans are saying, oh my fucking God, Fel. That's pretty good.
So,
that's
they told me to put that in there. They dared me to do it, and I was like, oh.
That's awesome. So this is 60 some pages, you said?
64.
Wow, that is a beast. And again, you did all the writing and all of the art on this one?
Yes. We also have
That's
Lucas
incredible.
lettering, and Frankie helped me edit, and logo.
You and Mick just anger me. I respect it. I respect it and hate it.
Yeah, now we have those really pretty prints by Kira, which I adore.
Those are gorgeous.
Oh, so good. So good. Yeah, a little postcard.
So, do you think that you'll be revisiting kind of this world that you've got with Commander Rao and with And We Love You?
Oh, I have so many more stories in my head. It's just a matter of, I guess, putting them out there. I am not the fastest writer, and I'm definitely not the fastest artist. So it takes me a while to get things going, but they will be out there eventually.
Cool.
When you're writing, are you laying out the page, or are you just kind of creating beats that you draw from later?
I guess it depends on the story. With the story with And We Love You, I wrote the script first, and then I went and did the layout, but I already kind of had an idea of what I wanted. With Commander Rao, it was the opposite. I kind of thumbnailed and drew the whole thing, and then I went back and put in most of the dialogue. So it really depends on what I guess the story I'm trying to tell is.
But you've had this story for so long, I bet it was easier to because your thoughts have been kind of percolating in the back of your head for 8-9 years. So it might have been easier to write it as opposed. You knew you trusted your story and you trusted yourself because Commander Rao was so good too, I bet.
I mean, it was, in some ways it was easier to write the initial draft, but then I felt like I had this problem where I kept on rereading my draft and overthinking it, and I feel like that's not great for you because then you start overthinking things and then you want to change everything even though it was probably fine before. So that's why I got an editor this time who could just tell me that things are okay and to move on. Yeah.
And explain yourself, all-star Frankie White. So that's not bad.
Yes. I love Frankie's writing. I am a big fan.
I was also excited to see Ricky Lima. I've never met him. I've never spoken with him, but he's good friends and did a really cool book with David Bishop, who drew a comic for me. So I feel like he's like this spiritual cousin of mine, even though we don't know each other at all. So kudos to you getting Ricky Lima.
Ricky is super duper nice. He has been helping me out since before I published my first comic. Pretty much I randomly messaged him as a stranger on Instagram being like, how do you print a comic? And he was like super nice and just helped me out. So yeah, he's a wonderful person, great to work with. And this is our most important stretch goal. If we hit $50,000, then there will be no war and everybody will get a happy ending and nobody gets it.
Guys, please, let's get this to 50,000.
We've got 2 weeks, and I think like 40,000 left to go. So,
as a person whose name is Kevin Joseph, I'm a fan of the initials. Just
KJ.
Anytime I see KJ, I'm excited. So you've got me. I was sold before I saw that. But all right, so 50,000. We end all war. Which is not at all pertinent to today's day and age. All right, we've got less than 40,000 to go in 13 days. We can do this. We can do this.
Final 2 days is a big push, right?
But seriously, $10,000 is amazing. Like Brent said that their last high was $12,000, which is extraordinary. That is amazing, and you're over $10,000 here. And how many backers? 346 backers on your second Kickstarter campaign.
Yes.
That is killer.
Thank you.
That is absolutely killer.
Because our dollar is so bad, my number looks higher on my screen. So it's always nice to see what it is in the market.
Oh yeah. Okay. That's true. I didn't even think about that. At least the backers are the same. At least they don't count like American backers as like 1.1. That would be really arrogant. So let's see. I haven't looked at the comments. Oh, Joey says, hello, friends and family. Joey, good to see you, buddy. And Fell is a force of nature. We agree. We are fans. And as long as they keep using their powers for good, we're fine. You're not going to turn your force into destruction, are you?
No, mostly, probably we're just going to use that force for more cooking videos.
Done. Done.
Sold.
All right, Mick, it's your turn in the hot seat. I'm going to pull up the page, and Queen of Mars 1 and 2, and yet he may conquer is.
Yeah.
So tell me the how these are the same, different.
So with he may yet conquer, because it happened kind of suddenly and unexpectedly. It's like I knew that's what I wanted the title of the story to be, because there's a quote from the books that says, "Leave a Thark his head in one hand, and he may yet conquer." So like that's what I wanted the title to be, because the main character in that first book is a Thark. It's a 15-foot green Martian, usually with 4 arms and 2 legs, and this guy Karkaget is pretty well mangled, and he's down to 1 hand, and he's got his head. So like he fits the quote. I drew the issue. The issue drew itself, is what it felt like. I shared it around on some Edgar Rice Burroughs Facebook pages, and there was some response there, like, you should Kickstart it. I'd love to have it as a book. So I was like, all right, I'll do that. And then in the process of doing the Kickstarter, it was like, I've got 8 more issues I could do. I see it as like a trilogy of trilogies. And so then I knew I wanted a different name for it, as kind of the umbrella. And I thought it would be easier to switch that now instead of switching that later.
Okay.
So the second issue is, I guess officially, a Queen of Mars, Chapter 2, Queen of Thorns as the full title. But
Okay.
as I was explaining that convoluted process to my daughter today, I realized I actually have like a different overall branching title in mind. So I'm gonna have to rebrand everything on the 3rd Kickstarter.
Nice.
You are predictably unpredictable. We love you.
Yeah. So yeah, He May Yet Conquer is Chapter 1. Queen of Thorns is Chapter 2. They are parts 1 and 2 of the Queen of Mars trilogy,
Which is the first
how it all
trilogy
breaks
of
down.
3 trilogies.
Yeah.
I think I just fell into Inception, Mick. And this is black and white as well. What was your thought process to creating black and white? I'm sure you told us on the last one.
Because I can't color. Color
okay.
terrifies me. I'll color like little individual pieces here and there just to mess with it. But the idea of coloring a whole book, spending that long on any single page, that long on any single book, I would kill myself. So I've decided not going to color. I'm just not going to do it.
No, I mean, it's a perfectly valid choice. I think some people choose to color just because they think they have to, and like with line work like yours, it's gorgeous in grayskull. You don't grayskull. I think I just went back to the You know what I mean.
Like, after the 3rd book comes out, like I'm planning to do like a collected then volume of the first trilogy, and my first Kickstarter was a fantasy story called Rovers, and I had that colored by Joel Bartlett, and I'm already talking to him about getting this colored for that collected edition. At least then the individual issues will be visually similar in that they're all black and white, and then when we finally have the book as a single color, or as a single collection, then it'll all be in color. And like this Kickstarter's done way better than I really expected it to. So like I've got plenty for Joel already.
That's gorgeous. Yeah, that's great.
Joel did the 2 covers. He colored both of the covers that I drew. and then Samantha Branch is a friend of mine, and I asked her to do that that other cover.
Yeah, no, pretty. This is just a night of beautiful art. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Fel and Mick, for doing it. Thank you, Lisa, for hiring somebody.
Yeah.
Will and I understand how making pretty things just means finding someone else to do it instead of scratching a paper and making everyone hate us. So yeah, you're at 6,000 of a $1,000 goal. So you're absolutely killing it as well. Like, this is just, I want to thank you, all three projects, for showing up. Like, we always joke about the explain yourself poem. Yeah, I need it. All right.
Still appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll take that.
I mean, I won't say no.
Okay, so Facebook user, as long as I'm unknown, I'll unabashedly say that this is the best collection of talent you've ever had on the show. I will say that it is a great collection of talent. Probably one show then when Will and I aren't here is probably going to be the best per capita.
Even better, yeah. I mean, you guys can just see yourselves out now if you want.
Yeah.
we tend to drag it down, but that's okay, because that's the way you have the show, because we can bring you guys on, we can look good and be the tailwind to you guys, and we appreciate it. So I told Will, and I told people at the beginning, I wanted to bring in just something about making comics crowdfunding, and I just wanted to hear what you all think about it. And I was thinking about the three projects we had, and all three seem to be strong in world building. So I wanted to hear what your thoughts are on creating the worlds that you're working on. And Mick, I'd like you to talk about working within an established world and making it your own. So this is free form. What was the first thing, and whoever wants to go first can go first, that you thought about in world building the project that is up on Kickstarter?
I knew I wanted it to be, I want to hew as closely to the books as I can. And when I say the books, I mean the first 4 books he wrote. 9, 10, he wrote 10 and a half books set in Barsoom, on Barsoom. I think only the first 6 exist in the public domain. The back half is still under copyright. As far as the first 6, the first 4, I enjoy the most. I mean, I've read them all multiple times, but the first 4, I think, are his best exploration and explanation of the world, without falling into like reusing ideas, coming up with stuff that interferes with like the world building he's done earlier. So I knew I wanted to do that. The end of the 3rd book is a major demarcation point for just the world of Barsoom, and how the main character through the first 3 novels, John Carter, like changes the world. Like, he finds this world through his actions. He changes it fundamentally by the end of the 3rd book, and so then the 4th book picks up from that point. And the 4th book is already kind of that answering that question of like what happens the day after. So I took it from there. I knew I wanted to be faithful to those first 4 books, and I wanted to pay homage to what he did and how he did things, and that comes into play in like later on in this series I have roughly in mind. But I knew as I was doing it, the stuff I wanted to add to the world, I wanted to make sure it felt organic to how he wrote and how he told stories. Because like the first book is a travelogue. Like, John Carter shows up on Mars. Every chapter he's a new place, experiencing new things, seeing new people. And it's not really character-based or plot-based for the most of it. He's just I'm a dude from Earth on an alien planet, and here's a strange thing. Here's another strange thing. Here's another strange thing. My princess is in another castle. Why does this always happen to me? Kind of a thing. And so I wanted to not do the travelogue as much and be like, this is a place he's explored that's fascinating. It's got history. It's worth spending time here. And so that's kind of where I wanted to go with the world building, is fleshing out these places and just spending time figuring out how this makes sense. Kind of in the books were written in like an incredibly racist, incredibly sexist period in history, and while there are certainly books that are much worse in those regards from that time, like these books do also have incredibly problematic elements. And I didn't necessarily want to rewrite that and be like, oh, me as, you know, a 21st century man, like clearly I have all these answers and can pretend like these bad things never happened, or I can explain away these bad things. I did want to see if I could soften them in a way, in how I approached and told the story. And so staying in these places, kind of trying to flesh them out and providing a context or a different interpretation to some of the more problematic elements has been the thing I've spent the most time on. And, you know, I worry the most about, am I getting that across? Am I making the same mistakes? Am I making similar mistakes? Am I eviscerating the work that came before? Am I a terrible person? Should I even be working in comics? I should just quit and walk away from everything. You know, all the usual stuff.
Sounds like a Thursday in my house.
Yeah, right. But it's like that's also what I'm really enjoying about the project. And I mean, like, these books were incredibly important to me growing up, and spending time in this world and, like, you know, putting my own spin on it while staying true to it. It's kind of what I always wanted to do. Like, I thought I would grow up and, you know, write and draw Superman, because that was the comic. That was my first comic. That was always my favorite superhero, and that's what I always thought I would do. And then I got older, and it's like, but I don't really care about that character. Like, this is, it's the same thing, but there's more leeway here, and I feel like there's more to be said here. So,
and it just feels like you could sit for hours and hours and play in this world.
Yeah.
Where maybe playing in Metro spend as much time. So, Lisa, he talked about the books meaning so much, and I want to bring it back to the book you told us about from, what, 1904, you said?
1910.
1910.
Yeah.
How close do your plant creatures hew to that? Is it literally just a, wow, that was neat, and I'm going to create something totally new? Or is it a through line from that?
Yeah, basically the first one. I wanted to do something new, but I'll show you the one that always stuck with me when I was a kid. It was a water lily character. I had a bookmarker. Where'd it go? I lost it. Here it is. I'm not good at lining it up. I'll let him do it.
Is it this one?
That one.
Nope, that's just me. Sorry, I tried to put you up close.
Yeah, so that one.
I just think they're really pretty, classic illustration style, and it just, I don't know, I always pored over it as a kid, and so it just always stuck with me, and I was always a Poison Ivy fan, and so that kind of went into the idea as well. And then Corolla really took it, and we discussed the plant element a lot while we were deciding on how she was going to approach it. And you'll notice they're very human-like in the preview, and they're going to sort of change and shift with their emotions as the book goes along. So they all have that sort of shape-shifting ability that's going to present itself later on. The general world building with this one was sort of like plucking my favorite things from a different fantasy series or worlds that I liked. I did quite a bit of research into different types of magic and just decided which ones I felt fit, and then not going not just throwing everything in the pot, just picking and choosing. And then I did a lot of general, like just typing out world building, background stuff. Nicole actually recommended that I add some of that to the book, and that we are doing that. And it was really actually something that Will told me in a mastermind that got me writing the actual story. It was like, I did all the world building, and then I was like, I'm sure you remember when you talked about your writing strategy of 4 pages a week. And that's what made this book happen. That's the only thing that made this book happen.
Well, no, you made it happen, actually.
Well, I mean, without that advice, it wouldn't be here yet.
She was overwhelmed by the breadth of the story that she had in her head, and when she got that advice from you, it was just like, oh, I can just do 4 pages a week and knock this out, and exactly that's what she did. So.
Sadly, the last few months I have completely fallen off writing, but I'm with the success of this. It's really motivating to get back there.
There is now a readership that you owe other volumes. So now this beast is not yours anymore. Now you just have to deliver it.
That is true.
I heard, I think it was Gene Wolfe wrote his first novel, Waking Up, and wrote like 30 minutes in the morning. And he just did like 50, 75 words a day, every day for a year. And he had a novel. And, you know, like that little just like slow and steady literally wins the race when it comes to creating. I'm terrible at it. I'm a fits and start writer. I'll sit down and you know, like power through half an issue and then come back a week later when I have time and finish it. And then, you know, like gotta edit it and make it readable and marginally okay. But I'm a fits and starts person. But man, if you can just a little bit at a time, it's the best advice for creating there is, because unless you're on a deadline, it doesn't have to be done now. It just needs to be done. And that's great. That's great that Will did it, because we usually only talk about the explain yourself bump from the moment you're on the campaign. But now I'm taking credit for all 867 because of it. 868, it popped up right when I looked at it. So now I'm going to cheat a little bit, Phil. I heard you on Blake's Buzz podcast, and you were talking a little bit about how some of your choices came from like needing to light a page, and I'm going to paraphrase and probably get it wrong, and like needing to light a page and realizing, well, then either rocket boots or a laser gun would light the page better. So now Commander Rao has a rocket gun or rocket boots.
Rocket boots, yeah.
So I was thinking that your writing might be a chaotic good. You know, like on the neutral, and I consider it like a chaotic good from what I've heard from you before. How do you go about your world building?
You're absolutely correct. I go about it very chaotically. Like with Commander Rao, I think with like, especially not even just saying we love you, with Commander Rao itself, a lot of it was made up as I went along, to be honest.
Well, they all actually are, so there's nothing wrong with that.
But yeah, like you said, like the entire comic took place at nighttime, and I was like when I was coloring it, I was like, I couldn't see anything. I was like, how do I like this thing? Because it's literally in the middle of nowhere in the woods. So I'm like, okay, I guess she has rocket boots now. But yeah, other elements of the Commander Rao world, I guess, were inspired by like facets of the French Revolution and World War II and BattleTech. I was like really into this manga called The Rose of Versailles, which was it's like a really old manga, but it's about the French Revolution, and it's really good. It was really cool, so I was like, I want to make something that cool and have that kind of like a almost like 17th, 18th century design, but in like a sci-fi setting, because I also like to draw big robots and you know, things that go kaboom. So it was kind of a mix of that and a mix of just things that I like to draw, and then I mashed them together into a world that is kind of like this retro future, I guess, where you have all these cool technologies, but it's also very much I don't know, like stuck in the past in a way, or even the present now that things are not going well in the world. But yeah, like I don't know, a lot of it was kind of just made out of functional need for things, and not gonna lie, the world is still developing. There was a page in And We Love You where I was like, okay, there's gonna be a car in it, but I didn't know what a car in this world looked like, and then I couldn't figure out what a car in this world looked like, so I just didn't draw the car.
That is great. Being the writer and the artist gives you a freedom there that is gorgeous. Now, every artist out there, if this happens to you, I think that you should just email or call your writer and tell them, I can't figure out what it looks like, so I'm not going to draw the car. And guess what? If the writer's like Will, myself, Lisa, if you can't draw the car, nobody can. So you own it. But there could be cars in a future incarnation if you decide what the style would be.
Yes, I feel like I'm still. It's probably somewhere between like a Cybertruck kind of deal, or I don't know, something simple. I like the Cybertruck design because it's very easy to draw. Like it's only polygons, looks like a PS1 model. So, if all cars look like that, I would be happy to draw them.
Yeah. So,
yeah, I don't like to draw anything that's not people. I did I had to draw cars for Charlie in an anthology, and like I found a picture of a car, and it was like I can draw the car from this angle, and like that's it. That's all the car you get.
So you called up Charlie. He is not making any right turns.
Yeah,
all left turns.
That's all he can do.
I wrote the plot of the first issue of Tart is all in a city, and I emailed Ludo and I said, it can be Paris, it can be England, it can be New York, wherever you want. And I figured as a Frenchman, he's going to pick Paris. And he wrote me back. He said, we'll do Manhattan. I was like, okay. And it was really interesting, actually. He picked Manhattan because he has this mindset that these cities have a certain era. So for him, he doesn't want to draw London unless it's the 60s. He doesn't want to draw Manhattan unless it's the 50s, which is when that particular plot took place. And I can't remember what his Paris was when he mentioned it. I think it was like the 20s or the 30s. And I thought that was such an interesting way that he chose the location. But he also said way after the fact, years later, I hate drawing cities. Buildings are the worst things to draw in the world. And I said it was going to be a huge city no matter where he chose. I was like, okay, all right, let's cut this story. Let's cut that story. Let's cut that story. So writers, I guess, ask your artist what they want to draw first so that you don't do what Charlie did to poor Meg.
Well, with He May Yet Conquer, it was like two people in a valley, and it's like I had to draw grass, such as squiggly lines around the ground. I had to draw some trees, it's just squiggly lines in the air. Off in the distance is a cliff, so it's just like a very faint squiggly line. And it was very easy, and I got the book done super fast. And then this book, like they're actually in the city. It's like, I don't know what this architecture looks like. I don't know how they build rooms. Like now I got to draw the room from another angle. Like it's taking forever, and I hate it. And everyone's going back to the valley next time, and they're just stuck there the rest of the time.
Is there anything in the books that even explains the architecture, or do you have to make it up?
They don't have stairs on Barsoom. They use ramps. I think, there's minarets, there's spires. I'm assuming it looked like, a 1920s white man's idea of Arabia, because it's far away and exotic, but... Mm-hmm. I'm just like throwing squiggly lines everywhere now, and I'm hoping it makes sense.
All right. Well, thank you guys very much for your diving into world building. I know that I sprung it on you, and I will next week. It's your job to spring something on our creators.
I'll have to come up with something.
So. We appreciate all of you joining us. You guys can hang with us while Will and I talk about the campaigns that have come past. Let's do real quickly, though, at least we'll put up the campaigns on things so people can find them. We have A Queen of Mars 1 and 2, McByers. Check it out. Edgar Rice Burroughs. It's so you said 4 of the 10 are in the public domain. So if you finish these 3 trilogies, by the time you're done, you should be getting into novel 5 and 6, right?
I mean,
is there
maybe.
a countdown?
Really, all the good stuff. Like, it's the same thing that happened with his Tarzan books, right? He wrote 24 Tarzan books. He wrote 9 Tarzan books, 1 through 9, and then 10 through 24. It's just one of those 1 through 9 again, but like he changes all the name. You know, like a Louis L'Amour Western, or it's like it's the same book 17,000 times. So you really only need to read the first 4, then you're fine.
My grandpa had the entire Louis L'Amour thing in leatherbound, so
those look really nice. I see them at flea markets all the time, and I just want to have them for the shelf. I'd never read them, but they look great on the shelf. And like, I like to collect stuff. I just like.
If I could pick up my computer, I could show it to you because I got my grandpa's. I can't afford them, but I can inherit them. So. And I haven't read one, but now I know I just have to read one.
That's all you need. All you need is one of them. Yeah.
All right. And We Love You. Can they get any Commander Rao in this as well? Is there a catch-up tier where you can get both books, Val?
Yes. So Commander Rao, my Kickstarter editions that I have left over, they are available as add-ons. It is limited though. I believe there's about 40 left, which I hope will be enough. But if not, digital versions are available in every physical pledge. So those are the 2 options if you want to catch up. Or if you want, you can always head to the Scout web store and they will have copies.
Or you can go to Tate Comics in Fort Lauderdale, because I was there 2 days ago and I saw 5 issues on the rack. So you can get them at Tate's. So I was so excited. I was like, yes, they had a pretty good Scout selection. So I was excited about that. All right. And Bloom Pretty, Lisa, congratulations. It's so exciting that you had this kind of passion project that has done so well. It's nice to see that, because obviously you have thought about this forever and you put together a great team and you've put a great book out and people are gravitating to it, which is actually something I could say about all 3 projects. But congratulations. So Bloom Pretty, I would check out all 3 of these campaigns if you're watching and bring them home. We joke about them doing well enough, but you know, there's nothing wrong with getting 10 more readers and then 10 more readers and then 10 more readers. So check these out and give them a read. There can never be enough readers to any of these books. Absolutely. All right, Will, now we stumble on each other.
You got it, man.
Oh, we should give a shout out. Prison Witch, Pat Shan's funded today. So we're not going to tell you to go back that, because it is very difficult when it's already closed. But congratulations to Pat Shand and his team. And I don't know why that went to that, but we have the House of the Queer Bodies, which is another public domain work. And Taylor was talking about this as I'm going to pull it up. It's not Mother Goose and the Gander, who the character falls into a fairy tale, and she finds out there's a fairy tale that her grandmother used to tell that is missing, and Mother Goose gives the lead character a gander that takes her through a bunch of different fairy tales to find her missing story. So House of the Queer Bodies, very unique, amazing artwork. Cthulhu is hard to spell. Another public. So this is a lot of public domain going on, and that's okay. You know, this is edited by Russell Nolte, and just the 3rd volume of an anthology. Cthulhu invades, Cthulhu takes over, and the mythological beings in this last volume fight back for the fate of the Earth. So we're not sure who wins yet. It's either the old gods or the new gods. So I think we're praying for Zeus and the new gods. I don't know. You want to take Drumsticks of Doom, Will?
Drumsticks of Doom. Yes, that one's got until March 12th. So, what, about a week?
Yeah.
Sorry. With the Drumsticks of Doom is what if the dominant music was not the Beatles, it was instead Black Sabbath. It's a heavy metal world with all the things that they said was associated with, metal music, right? Werewolves and magic. And there's other stuff going on here that we don't know about. But, Drumsticks of Doom has about another week left. And I think that's it, isn't it?
I think that is it. Yeah, because we can. I'll just erase this much. All right. Thank you guys, everyone who tuned in. Thank you to our projects. Oh, don't forget the werewolves. Yes, Ignacio's. Yeah, the werewolves are badass. So Ignacio was here. We don't have to talk about the Breakneck Fantasy Project because you guys funded this week. Fabulous campaign. Congratulations. And I hope you had a well-deserved drink or meal of your choice to celebrate. And when the 3 projects here fund, I hope you all do as well. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.